Welcome to Wealthy Living Conversations. I'm Lisa, your host and founder of Wealthy Living. As an integrated life, clarity, and wellbeing coach and a professional conversation facilitator, it is here that I connect with a variety of wonderful humans to have inspiring and insightful conversations to help you live a meaningful, connected, and well life. A place to learn and grow in confidence and clarity to make choices that support your well-being, both personally and professionally. So in this time of COVID-19 that we're going through at the moment, many businesses are changing their models to take their businesses online. So the marketplace is full of online courses and online classes, and just the overall content, dare I say, online at the moment is very noisy and somewhat overwhelming for a lot of people. So today I have a special guest with me here. It's online business coach and conscious marketing, a conscious marketer and author, George Kao. And we're going to have a conversation about how to do this whilst aligning with your personal values, your integrity, and your ethics. So when it comes to applying generosity and honesty and humility and joy into business, there's no one that I've come across on the online business world that does it better than George. Welcome, George.
Yeah, what an honor to be here. Thank you for hosting this conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's fair to say that so many people have income stresses at the moment, and that
Yeah.
balance between needing
Yeah.
to make money but not feeling ethical about charging and knowing that others are struggling financially poses quite a dilemma for a lot of people. So I'm wondering what your thoughts about all that are.
Well, it's a really good question, and it's a, like you said, it's a very delicate subject because
Mhm.
we all are feeling it in some way or another. I think the vast majority of businesses are feeling it, and the vast majority of workers, are feeling this too. Um, the thing I want to encourage people to remember is this: it's actually maybe hard to assume, or not hard, but it's not always accurate to assume other people's financial situations.
Mm,
Okay, so I think that's a really important point. Even though, yes, a lot of people are not working right now. I mean, if you're talking about employees, you know, a lot of them have gotten laid off, and a lot of businesses need to, have cut down on a lot of the revenues that they usually get. However, thankfully, there are governments everywhere is helping, and people are also scaling back their lifestyle, and maybe they have fewer expenses because, well, guess what? They're at home now. They're not going out as much, not traveling, et cetera, et cetera. So I think ultimately, what people want, they will spend money on. Okay.
mm,
And we need to remember that, hey, you know what, it's not my job to make sure that everyone's financial situation is fine before I make a price adjustment or before I make an offer, things like that. So I think it's really important to understand, or um, to just accept the reality that we can't understand and assume everyone's financial situation, and we simply need to. I'm very even though people consider me like a conscious marketer, authentic marketer, I'm still very market driven. And when I say market driven, I don't mean profit driven. What I mean is I am very much about growing our business in partnership with others,
mm,
and by others, and I know you're very much about that too. In growing our business in partnership with others, there are two particular others we need to think about. One is, of course, our customers, our clients, potential customers, clients, and secondly is, of course, other referral sources, other businesses that can bring us partners, partnerships, and things like that. But so when I say I'm market driven, I mean I am very, it's funny, I'm actually very agnostic, or very curiosity driven when it comes to putting our offerings out there. I basically never assume whether the market wants what I have or don't want what I have. All I know is if I humbly put it out there and see what the reaction is, then I know whether they want it or not. So even in these times, I
Mm,
still operate in that principle of I don't know if it's a good offer or not until I put it out there.
mm,
Now, it would be, you might say that it would be tone deaf if we didn't address,
mm,
right, the COVID situation, the depression economically and mentally that people are going through. It would be tone deaf, and would be not just tone deaf but uncompassionate. And it's also not what we're feeling. We feel like we want to address it because we're feeling that too, right?
yeah,
So I think that it does make sense for businesses right now to kind of go the extra mile in terms of what can I offer that, in addition to my services, my products, what can I offer for free in a sustainable way for me that I don't typically offer. So we see a lot of people doing, Zoom sessions, maybe group sessions, or sometimes one-to-one that they don't usually offer. And that, I just did that a couple weeks ago. I say, hey, listen, I'm going to do a public Q&A, two different time zones. This is not something I usually do, but I'm just going to get on to Zoom and answer people's questions and try to coach them and just try to be helpful to them. And people really appreciated that. And it's not something I do every day, or it's not something I do every week. I think some people can, in my opinion, take it too far and go, oh, I feel so bad about how everyone's doing, so I'm going to do free coaching for everybody for the next 90 days. I'm joking, but we need to be aware of our own sustainability too,
mm,
but we need to balance it. So, well, let me offer something a little extra, that so people can can experience my work without, more gently, without having to invest, immediately in what I do, in terms
mm.
of paying a fee, right?
So, I mean, from what you said, I mean, there's so many good points you said. You've shared so much there that really makes so much sense. And something that you said, which I suppose is something you've done before, which I know you do and are doing now, is that idea of not making an assumption and going with that strategy of almost like test and measure. So rather that, like, I suppose, as a in a coaching position or even in a counselor or therapy, it's all about asking with curiosity. And so it's the same sort of thing, just transferred
Yes,
in a business way,
brilliant.
is put it out with curiosity as opposed to with judgment or assumption
Yeah,
or reaction, as opposed,
that's right.
like just respond, just put out and respond. So yeah, I think that that's really, really good advice. And I think a lot of the time, and I know even with myself and with a lot of other people, people get caught up in that perfectionist way of putting things out in the COVID-19 time or else any other time.
Yeah.
And rather than just, it feels scary to just put something out and see. And it's like, am I wasting my time? Am I not wasting my time? And I love the way that you come to that, and it works.
Yeah, yeah. I see my audience. When I do my marketing, I one of the metaphors I keep in mind is it's kind of like building a friendship,
Yeah.
and so I kind of see interacting with my audience. It's like I'm building a kind of a friendship. I kind of see my audience as a friend, and so I think, hey, if I'm excited about, let's say I want to host a party. Well, these days we can't go out to friends' houses, but let's
Zoom
use that
party, a house
analogy.
party.
Growing up, once upon a time, we used to be able to go to each other's homes. Let's say I was hosting a party, and I'll say, "Hey, Lisa, I'm hosting a party, and I'm thinking about this theme. I'm going to do this kind of 80s theme. What do you think about that? Do you think would that be fun to you?" So when I do that, I'm not saying, God, if Lisa rejects my 80s theme, then there's something wrong with me, and, and I'm going to be wasting my time. I always do my marketing and my product creation as much in partnership with my audience as possible. So before I go and decorate my house with the 80s theme and buy all the stuff, I first ask my friends, hey, do you think should we do the 80s theme, or what would you like? Oh, you want to do a Hawaiian thing? Okay, that's cool. Or so I ask my audience first, say, what do you think about this idea? before I go through. And but because your point about am I wasting my time is a very good point.
Mm.
And unfortunately, it breaks my heart to see that a lot of people do spend a lot of effort, months, sometimes years, creating a product or a program
Mm.
in their own head, in their own closet, essentially. And then they come to me or to you or to some business expert and say, now you got to make me, you got to help me market this thing. And yes, sometimes we can help, of course, there's some copywriting we can do, or some design we can do, or some other, webinar, but it's so much easier when they come to us earlier and say, okay, I have this idea. Oh, great. I'm so glad you haven't spent the months and the years building it yet.
Mm.
Let's try to build it with in partnership with the audience. Then they're going to be much more just like a friend. Instead of decorating my house first, let me ask my friends what they want first.
Yeah.
And then my friends all say, oh, they want generally this theme. Great. Now I can decorate the house, because now if I invite them, they'll say, yes, of course we'll come over because we like that theme.
And I mean, that's two things. One, it brings to mind just the basic concept of market research that has been
Yeah.
just around forever.
But it's not obvious for most people.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's because we've sort of thought that this online business world is something really complicated, but it's actually just the same principles of offline.
Yeah.
And when you go to do a product, or any company that's successful that goes to actually bring a product into the market, they'll do focus groups and they'll do market research and they'll do all those
Yeah.
things, which is
Tons.
basically the same as on the online world, just bringing out the content and seeing what people are interested in, or doing online polls, or
That's right.
all those things. And the other thing, when you were talking about that party, that came to mind is a perfect example, which might make people really relate, is if you're just having a dinner party, you're not going to go and make a beautiful lamb shanks because you love it without finding out if the guests are vegetarian. You know?
Right? That's so true.
Yeah.
That's a very, very good analogy. Yes, I love that. That's very,
Yeah.
very true.
Yeah.
Now, one other thing I want to address, given that we are in these times, um, people might say, okay, George, I understand. I got to put things out there, but there's this fear that, are we taking advantage?
Yes. And that's the big thing I want to talk about.
Right? Like, are we taking advantage of
Mm.
people's vulnerability right now
Mm.
to then, sell them something that they need?
Mm.
And I get it, because unfortunately, we've all grown up with marketing and sales that is very profit driven only, and they don't care as much about us.
Mm.
And that's our usual understanding of marketing. And so that's why we're all very, those of us who are in your audience, we're all very careful. Like, I don't want to do marketing in that kind of way. But let's get really let's bring it back to this idea of friendship, right? Marketing, when it's authentic, when it's ethical, when it's conscious, to me, it's really about serving human beings where they're at. That's all. And of course, we're a business, not a nonprofit. And some people watching this, listening to this, might be nonprofits, and that's a different model. But as a business, we exchange our service, our time, our energy, our product for money that they give in return. That's very simple, And so that's what authentic marketing is, hey, I'm just going to do my best to serve you where you're at with something that I really believe is worth paying for, because I'm a business. And if you believe it's worth paying for, then you'll pay for it. And then I give you the service so that we can both be sustainable. We can both be supported. Okay.
Yeah.
And so for those who are worried, well, I'm not going to take advantage of people right now when they're vulnerable, think more in terms of, as a business, what can I offer them right now that's especially relevant for them, and offer in a pricing that is sustainable for me?
Mm.
Because just because people need your help doesn't mean you need to overextend yourself and become resentful also. We don't want to become resentful in serving other people, and they don't want us to become resentful either, right? Your customers, your clients want you to be sustainable as a business, want you to be happy providing the service or the product. Remember that.
Yeah.
And so when we price, of course, we're not going to, and something that is true about taking advantage is some companies are, when people are in need, they ratchet up the price
Yeah.
because they know that there's a demand.
Yeah.
And so they ratchet up the price, and that's something we need to be, I don't do that, right? I still offer a sustainable price that I would have offered during non-pandemic times. But so anyway, I just wanted to bring that forward here.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important point, because a lot of people don't want to appear in this time. Well, a lot of people that are, that are working in more of the heart-centered space
Yes,
don't want to
yes,
appear to be opportunistic, but yet they
right.
want to be smart, and they want to be in take initiative and creative and look
Yeah,
for the opportunities and pivot with the
that's right.
opportunities. And not that
Yeah,
I like that word pivot at the moment, is just too many
right, right.
people
No,
using it.
no.
But
But let's just say meeting people where they're at.
yeah,
That's what we're doing.
exactly. And a lot of
Yeah,
people, these heart-centered entrepreneurs, they really want to do that. And yet there's this big fear about appearing opportunistic, even though they were doing online business before. And so and I know that it's really a common feeling at the moment. I mean, I know
yes.
myself, I have, in this time of the pandemic so far, I have not put out one thing that's paid. And I've made a conscious decision right now to do that, and made a
Yeah.
more conscious decision to build content instead, do more
If
market
you can,
research,
if you can do that,
at
great.
depending on how long this goes for.
Yeah.
Um, right? For this, I gave myself probably a month to do that, and then we'll see. And I've done that not just because I can or can't afford to, but more so because I'm taking advantage of that time just to sit back and only do something when it feels completely in alignment. Because I think that,
Mm.
like the supermarket shelves and the toilet paper went off the shelves really quickly, and then now it's become down and it's a bit normal. I think the same thing will happen online. It's gone crazy, and it's all noisy, and it's all noisy. And I think eventually it'll calm down. And it's when it's calmed down, I feel more like I want to contribute. Right now, I just think it's so noisy.
It
And,
is. It is.
hence I
Yeah.
don't even send emails to people generally, because I hate I hate a full inbox myself. So I don't want to contribute to that for someone else.
Yeah.
So
It's interesting you say this, that I think it is true that people are offering more things now. But guess what I've also noticed? There's more attention online
yeah,
now than ever
absolutely.
before, because of course everyone's at home, no
Yes,
one can travel,
absolutely.
and even all the kids, of course, are learning online. And so they're learning online, and we're online. And just as some proof, I guess, is that I run Facebook ads. I've been running Facebook ads for years. I run them all the time. I've always have a couple of ads running, and I noticed in March 2020, right when the pandemic is really, lockdowns are really happening, the cost of my Facebook ads are 30 to 50% cheaper than
Mm,
they were before March. And I was like, whoa. So, and also the video watch time, actually, I'm sorry, the cost of the ads are 30 to 70% cheaper. And my average video watch time is 50% more, meaning,
wow.
people watching my videos, maybe on average, they used to watch 2 minutes and now they watch 3 minutes.
Mm,
On some videos, and maybe they used to watch 10 minutes, now they're watching 15 minutes. So it's really remarkable. So I want to encourage all of you to say, well, is the online space, is it too much now for me to jump in? I promise you it's not. And
mm,
so I want to encourage you, if you want to offer something, if you feel like, this thing would be really beneficial for people right now, I encourage you to offer it. Now, one more thing I'll say about opportunistic, etc., is that I'll give you my own example, and maybe it'll be encouraging for those of you watching this, listening to this. Um, I Well, when this happened, I said, you know what? More than ever before, one of my strengths, one of the things that I've been teaching for a long time, is showing people how to create and launch online courses.
yeah.
I've been doing this for years. Okay. So it's not something new for me. But I said, you know what? My goodness, now is the time that people really need to learn it. So I actually I have a schedule of courses for the year, and I organized my schedule so that I could launch my program about how to teach and launch your online courses. I did that. I did that in the past couple of weeks because I felt like people needed it. Now, did anyone, especially my community, people who are all into authentic marketing and building a business that's from the heart, did anyone reach out to me and says, George, you're being opportunistic?
No,
No.
they said
In
thank you.
fact, in fact, they said thank you. They said, this is what I need right now. I'm so glad you're doing it now rather than later in the year.
Yeah.
So if that will be a comforting example for those of you who are thinking of doing this, please know that your people know your heart. And that's the thing. Your people know your heart. And they will probably say thank you instead of, hey, why are you taking advantage of me? No, they're going to say thank you. So
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it comes down to something that you said really right in the beginning of this conversation. And that was that about people having fewer expenses. And so it's about not necessarily, it's about just a shift in priority of spending.
yeah,
So it's, yeah, people are
they
just
will
spending in
spend
different
on
places.
what they
They
really
just have
want.
different priorities now.
They will spend on what they want. Apparently right now a lot of people want toilet paper,
Yeah, apparently.
but still a lot of people also want to be learning online and to be
Yeah,
working on, of course, because they can't do anything else.
that's
So
right.
yes, don't hold yourself back too much. Just know that you can meet people where they're at, and as a business it's okay to be offering things right now
Yeah.
also. Yeah.
There's a few little other things I just wanted to touch on that are things that
Sure.
you talk about in general, and I think that they're really quite relevant at the moment. And one of those is scarcity marketing,
Mm.
because I think that that falls under, like, I suppose, this whole sort of conversation. So I know I'd love you to share your thoughts around scarcity marketing and what that means,
Yeah.
and what in this time would be relevant to avoid, in your opinion.
Mm.
And
Okay.
yeah.
Sure, sure. Well, I think where most of us are uncomfortable with scarcity marketing, which is usually done online, is when it's false scarcity. Like when there really is no deadline, but people are putting a deadline on it so that they can make sales. It makes us feel uncomfortable and makes us feel rushed and hurried to make a decision. And for the business owner, they kind of know, well, I'm just, there are 5 ebooks left now. It's like, what do you mean 5 ebooks left? Their ebooks are infinitely scalable. Why are there only 5 left, right?
Love
um,
it.
but however, we also have to respect and honor the fact that in the real world there are real scarcity. There is real, not scarcity, but there are real limitations
Mm,
that life puts on us. For example, there's a limitation of time, meaning if I'm actually going to start teaching an online course, there is a real start date.
yeah,
It's not that it's going to start whenever you want. No, I'm going to start teaching the live session this date, that day, or if I want a group to start together, there is a date I want them to start. So it's okay to use scarcity when it's real.
yes,
Okay. Another example is, listen, I can only serve, X number of clients, or I can only have an X number of sessions this month. So that's a real scarcity. To say, I actually would love for people to say yes, for the right people to say yes, knowing that, they do need to make a decision, because later if they say yes and I'm full, I can't say yes to them.
yeah,
Okay. So that's another scarcity. And then finally, a scarcity that is real that I use also is what I call the pre-launch. Okay. I call it pre-launch. Some people might call it early bird. Now,
mm,
the reason I call it pre-launch, and let me explain. When I'm launching an online course, I have 2 periods in my launch. I have the pre-launch discount period, and then I have the regular price launch period. Okay. And for me, I'm so good at launching these things that I only give myself 2 weeks to launch something. And so 1 week is the pre-launch period and 1 week is the regular price period. Now, the reason I have a pre-launch is that it literally helps me to see whether I should keep going with the launch.
mm,
Meaning, if I don't get enough sales during the pre-launch, I literally say, hey, everyone, I'm going to change the topic of the course now, and I'm going to launch a different topic because I didn't get enough sales. I give the few buyers, if there were any, I give the few buyers the option for a refund, or they could still not refund and take the new topic if they want to. So I literally am using it as a way to gauge whether I should do something. And I think that's a really good idea, because if there are not enough sales, why should I spend all this effort, like
And
you
that just
said.
goes and aligns back to your test and measure, that research
It's
that
the test and measure. So
put out.
it's a real scarcity. It's a real thing. Like, I want to know if you're going to buy by this time. Otherwise, I'll have to change courses.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
what's your thoughts then also for businesses at the moment that might have products or services that aren't necessarily ones that people that is addressing a person's need right now, but they are a
Mhm.
business that needs to, I mean, they still need to bring in money. What's your thoughts about pre-selling, doing
Oh,
prepaid sales
yeah,
now at a
yeah.
discounted rate?
Oh, wow. That's a great idea. And I understand how some people may feel uncomfortable with that. But the reality is, let's come back to this remembrance that authentic marketing, heart-based marketing is like building a friendship.
Mm.
It's being with an audience who actually cares about you as a business. So, for example, what you just said is what some people are doing who are hair salons, barbers, hairdressers.
Factors, basically.
It's honestly, it hurts me because we have a hairdresser we care about, and we need the haircut right now, but we can't use her service right now because her business is required to be closed. If she were to approach us, and she should really, if she were to approach us and says, hey, you know what, I'm going to give a bit of a discount. It doesn't have to be a big discount. It could be even 5 or 10%. Even if she didn't give a discount, we would be happy to pay her right now, knowing that we're going to need her service later.
That's right.
Okay. Same thing with acupuncturists.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with, any kind of body worker, or people who are not body workers, who are online.
Just anything that you're
So
going to do.
that's it. And knowing that, guess what? Your friends, your colleagues, your audience, your customers, your past customers, your clients, your potential clients, people on your email list, they care about you as a business.
Yeah.
And if you have a service that they actually are going to use later, they'll probably be happy for a bit of a discount. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, even at this time for me personally, like I do have to consider my finances. My income's been
Yeah.
dramatically at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but I still have thought about, all right, I'm not purchasing, like you said, priorities. I'm not going to purchase a new outfit. I'm not going to
Right.
not going for dinner. I'm not going on
Right.
different things. And yes, some of that money has therefore got to be saved. But if I am spending, I've gone and looked at all the different online businesses that I have followed for a period of time and thought,
Right.
where can I use this now? Where can I
Mm,
spend now? And where can I support someone who might be struggling so that the money can just go kind of
very
around
thoughtful.
with all of
Yes.
the small businesses at the moment?
It's very, very thoughtful of you. Yeah. And I wish more, you know, consumers or people had this mentality too. You should spread that message more. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and oh, so much. And the other thing, which I think that is something that you do really, really well, and I feel is a really good time to be doing this for businesses online, is collaborations, especially because it is so
Yes.
noisy. And if it
Yeah.
is so noisy, it's better to maybe have one thing that goes out that contains a whole lot of people's stuff than having so many everybody all different going out, because it hits a bigger audience and it's
Yeah.
only one post,
Yeah.
say, or one launch.
Yeah. That's brilliant. It's really a great idea. And, just for those who didn't immediately catch what Lisa just said, it's a very smart strategy of, hey, I've got, these 5 colleagues whose work I believe in. Why don't we all get together and let's all put a product into a quote unquote basket, or a combination, a combo, and let's sell that at a lesser, at a discount than we would have sold each of those things. And that way people go, wow, I'm getting a good deal. And everyone's audience is being exposed to one another. And it's a brilliant idea. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the thing is, around this time for a lot of people is just to think creatively, think out of the
Yeah.
box.
Yeah.
It's a time of general global unity in the way that we feel. So maybe it's a time in business as well to start being more about unity and more about collaboration and less about competition. Because I think that what happens with a lot of people is when they get stressed financially, they
Yeah.
can go into a competitive mindset instead of a
Right.
collaborative mindset, because
Yeah.
they go under the feeling of lack and fear. as opposed to, all right, well, how can I still remain abundant and still remain like kind and caring and collaborative and still, enhance those connections?
I love it. Yeah, we have to remember that the economy happens because people do business with each other. Okay, that's how the economy works. If
Brilliant.
we are all in fear and we don't partner, we don't collaborate, and we don't buy and spend, there is no economy, and everyone spirals even more into depression.
Yes.
So for all of us, obviously watching this and listening to this, who are part of your audience, my audience, who are heart-based, yes, this is our time to really expand the heart, to really open the heart and say, let's connect and see how we can all support each other. That's really the key. How can we support each other? And like you said, how can we be creative and create something that we couldn't do just being fearful on our own? So thank you.
Absolutely. And yeah, there's just so much in that. And I hope that just even in this conversation, we've given people some confidence and some clarity around moving forward and being creative at this time. And at the
Yeah.
same time, not feeling the pressure and also staying joyful in their productivity, because I know that that is
Yes.
something that's super passionate for you about,
Yeah.
staying joyful in productivity.
Yeah, and productivity for me, it's about how can I serve every day? How can I bring a little bit more love into the actions that I do every day? How can I seek more truth, in my understanding of others and in my understanding of myself? And therefore, how can I serve better? And when we put it in those terms, then our work is really a spiritual effort, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah. So.
Thank you so much. Is there anything that we haven't talked about that you think would be relevant to share right now?
No, well, I mean, the last thing, I mean, we can end on this note that, and this too shall pass,
Yes.
right? This too shall pass, and somehow I believe that we are each being taken care of by a higher power that will always is smarter than us, knows the path ahead, and
Yeah.
will make sure that we will get what we need for our purpose. So this too shall pass, and keep holding on to our faith, whatever that means for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. And it is about really just that, I suppose, just allowing and trusting that whatever will be, and
Yes.
it will pass.
Yes.
We don't know what it'll look like,
Yeah.
but it will pass, because the only constant in life is change.
Yeah. It's true. And I really do believe that everything happens for a higher purpose. And so if we keep on saying, what is the higher purpose here? Then that'll help us to align with that.
Yeah, beautiful. So, in summary, approach everything with curiosity.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. So thank you so much for sharing, your wisdom and your knowledge in this space with us. So for anyone who's been listening to this conversation, what is your biggest insight or takeaway? Both George and I would love to know. So leave a comment on either our socials when we share this episode, or just leave a comment below the iTunes or YouTube videos. And if you'd like more information on anything that George is doing at the moment, do you want to share where they can find you?
Oh, well, I'm grateful to people to be able to just Google my name, actually, and I'm pretty well SEO'd for my name. So George Kao, Kao is how my last name is spelled, George Kao. Just Google me, you'll find my website, my YouTube, Facebook, all my different things that I do. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. And I'll put all of George's details on the show notes anyway. And, George has got mountains and mountains and mountains of video and content and free content and posts, and he's generally the master of free content. So you can gain a lot of information, as well as all of his courses are extremely affordable anyway, because as as I found out in another time, in another conversation with George a while back, he has a philosophy which says, charge as little as you can get away with,
Yes, that's right.
rather
Thank
than
you so much.
charging as much as you can get away with.
Yeah.
So yeah, great philosophy. And if you have enjoyed today's episode and you found it really valuable and you've got really good content out of it, please share it with your friends. Consider subscribing to the Wealthy Living podcast on iTunes, as well as the Wealthy Living YouTube channel, so that you can listen to more conversations with wonderful humans whose stories, knowledge, actionable ideas and wisdom can help you live a meaningful, connected and well life, both personally and professionally. To find out a little bit more about my services, you can visit my website at wealthyliving.com.au or connect with me on any of my social media channels. So until next time, remember, connection is medicine.